Squirrel Sports. So hello, and welcome to the first ever Season 1 premiere of the Superbowl Rebuild Challenge that is yet to have a formal title. In this series, me and my brother Nick, I'm Chris by the way, will be taking you through a rebuild on an offline franchise where we'll be playing together and rebuilding two different teams in this race to the Super Bowl. This will be an ongoing challenge until one of us wins the Super Bowl, in which event we will then restart this whole process and begin Season 2. So here are the rules. Well, it's the first one to win a Super Bowl will win, and the score will become 1-0. However, this does have the caveat of if your coach is forced to retire at any point, and I do not mean fired, I mean retired, as in you got fired and no one wants you again, so you have to make a new character. If that happens, then you have to win 2 Super Bowls. If that happens again, you win 3, etc. Essentially, it's a -1 to your score of Super Bowls. If you are fired, not retired, if you are just fired though, you cannot use your old scouting board. So obviously all the players that you'd scouted prior before, you just forget all that. You can't write anything down. You just go along with it. The starting teams that we are using must be within 3 overall points of each other. Obviously it'd be unfair if one of us started with the Dolphins and the other one started with the 49ers. And it is a simulation only event. We won't be playing in the games. We will simply be acting as a sort of owner GM type, making our moves and seeing who can rebuild a team the quickest to win a Super Bowl. With that said, my team is going to be the Oakland Raiders, who are an 80 overall team, and I'm going to create my coach right now. We will not be using the handsome John Gruden there. Instead, we will become we are going to be a strategist. We're going to build through the draft. We are going to be Francis full of French people. So here is Francis full of French people's idea, and this is what I will be building my team around. We are the spread archetype. In fact, we're going to go spread. We're going to go, I think, maybe air raid. Let's go air. Do I want air raid? Do I run and shoot? Air raid? Let's go run and shoot. Essentially, I just want to be as pass heavy and as receiver focused as I can be. This is how I'm going to build this Raiders team, hopefully, or teams going forward. This is what Francis full of French people believes in. He's going to be obsessed with QBs passing the ball as much as they can, and a defense, a Tampa 2 defense that basically says, we're fine to let you score field goals, we don't care about you getting down the field, we'll just limit you to field goals. We aren't going to focus on defense as much, we're going to be an offensively focused team with Francis full of French people. And that's how I'm going to build my team, essentially, is I'm going to go for a very important QB position, and then we'll running back, not as important, receiver very important, O-line somewhat important, but then defense, I'm just going to kind of let that go to the back burners essentially, and I'm going to focus on this offense, and we're going to try and get the best offense that we can reasonably for this Raiders team. So this is Francis full of French people, and I'll let Nick now talk about what his coach is and who his team is.
I am going to be the Arizona Cardinals in this rebuild, and the reason is I believe they have quite an old team. It's not well developed really, but you've got a good quarterback I think you can build around. I am not going to be Cliff Kingsbury, who you would think would be more attractive than what that picture shows. I would go for the XP package. I think again, a callback to classic FIFA days when you enter the name without actually changing it. This is the perfect name for any career mode in any game, Mr. Manager. Straight to the point. I don't know what he wants to look like. I prefer the heavy guys, to be honest. He's got a massive head. I'll go with him. He's okay. So now we go into this. As I go into his scheme. I'm a fan of the air raid. Well, this is the Cardinals before DeAndre Hopkins would join the team. Base 4-3. That works for me. I just keep it the same way it is now. For the time being.
Okay, so you rejoin us. Having gone through the first season, we simmed all the games, well not simmed, we forced the wins for all the games. Unfortunately the Lions and Cardinals tied in week 1, which we couldn't resolve, so there will be a slight difference in draft order because we had to give one of them the win, and we gave the Cardinals the win because Nick is the Cardinals, and he wanted it to be harder for himself. So with that, we've done our scouting throughout the year as well, which I'm sure we will show you as we do it. And these are the players that I can re-sign. But before we go into that, let's just first take a look at the roster as a whole and where we are going. We're currently 80 overall. So let's take a look at some of our best players. Well, we've got Rodney Hudson here, who is on the wrong side of 30. Darren Waller, who obviously is very good, who we will have to re-sign pretty soon. Trent Brown, who we're paying a lot of money to. Josh Jacobs, obviously our star running back, rookie running back. Tyrell Williams, who again is getting up there in age. Lamarcus Joyner, Derek Carr, Maurice Hurst, Gabe Jackson, Incognito is 37, wow. Crosby, Jonathan Hankins, Carl Joseph. So when we look at the team going position by position, I think I'm personally not a believer in Derek Carr. I think he's a very average QB, and I don't think he is what is going to help me win the Super Bowl in this challenge. Jacobs is obviously very good, but doesn't fit the scheme. So we'll see where we go going forward with him. I think I will keep him at first to see how it goes. But Carr, I'll probably be looking at trading him away, which is what I think the Raiders should do in real life. But looking at receiver, I think we'll probably keep Zay Jones. And Renfro obviously we'll probably keep as well. Obviously the rest down here don't matter too much. Tyrell Williams, yeah, we'll probably get rid of. I think we need to rebuild before we can really go at it all. Waller will probably maybe keep. We might put him on the trade block and see what we can get. The O-line, obviously Incognito might retire. Trent Brown obviously will keep, but the rest might go. Crosby is definitely will keep. Pharrell, they just drafted him, so he's a keep. Maurice Hurst, Jonathan Hankins are fine for now. We aren't paying them too much either, so that's fine. At linebacker, we are struggling, so we might need to look at that. And at corner, we aren't too good either. Lamarcus Joyner, paying him a bit more than I would like. And Carl Joseph, especially considering we've got Abram here as well, who I'd much rather let step in instead of Joyner. Or Joseph. With that said, we could probably let Joseph go, therefore, depending on how much he wants. We're also paying Harris here a lot to do nothing. So, draft picks wise, we do have 2 first round picks and 2 thirds, but no second. And then a 4, 5, 6, 7. So, good picks here for the Raiders, 11 and 19. Hopefully we could turn that into talent. With that said, let's talk about who we should re-sign. Got some interesting choices here. We do have Joseph, who is only 26 years old, as well as Darren Worley, who's only 25. Jalen Richard, I don't think is too much of an important keep right now, just because of what's his name? Jacobs, the star. And then anyone down here, I don't think there's too much we want to re-sign here. Nick Nelson, maybe. Maybe Nick Nelson, maybe Carlson. But then the rest, I think we can all pick up elsewhere. Look, maybe for younger players. But I will give Carl Joseph a little offer, a little dabble. You see, we've got 37.5 million. I wouldn't be too surprised if he doesn't want to stay. I won't be too disappointed if he doesn't, so I'm just going to offer him straight up what they say, and he will stay for 3 more years. So that should pin safety down. As I said, I didn't want to focus too much on defense, so getting these, kind of average starters on, not massive money is kind of where we want to be. Similar for Darryl Worley. Let's see, what's he want a year? See, a cap hit of just 3.85 I think is pretty acceptable for kind of like a second or third corner. So again, I'll just offer exactly what it says on the tin, and he will also stay for 4 years. So we've got kind of, decent level starting players, which is kind of what we want for defense, because we want to be an offensively focused team. Rashad, I'm not interested in signing. I think the only people other than that, one thing I like to do, and this is kind of scumming the game a bit, but is give these backup type guys who are like 70 overall, like 4-year contracts when they're not asking for anything at all. Nick Nelson's only 23. He's not too far away from the zone archetype, so I'm pretty happy giving him a nice big 4-year deal just to essentially be a backup for 4 years. Daniel Carson doesn't want anything. Let's see if he takes a big 5-year deal. This would be great if he does. There we go. We got a 5-year deal with no signing bonus for our kicker. And apart from that, I think I'm okay with everyone else leaving. Okay, so here we are in a free agency, and the first thing we're going to do is look to trade away some of these suckers. Rodney Hudson, we could trade away. It's just a hit of $4 million. We get $6 million back. Darren Waller, we could trade away. That's completely free. We gain $7 million on the cap. Terrell Williams, we gain $11 million. That's a bit of a cap dump. Is he worth trading away? 82 overall. Star player. He's 28 in his prime now. So by the time that we'd be looking at winning the Super Bowl, which I think is probably about 3 or 4 years away, I tend to look at it in 4-year windows of where we draft a QB, whilst that QB is still on his rookie deal, looking at it that way. So he'd be a good 32. So I think we can probably look to trade him away. Can we trade him away? Not yet. Okay. But we will be looking to, as well as maybe Rodney Hudson and of course your boy Derek Carr. Well, Rodney Hudson, let's start with you. You're old. He is 93. I'm gonna try it. Can we get pick 28 out of the Ravens? Save ourselves a bit of cap room and also get a first-round pick. Ravens. Ooh, close. We'll try a 6th for a start. I think that was about a 6th. Now, boom, baby. So now we got 3 first-round picks that hopefully we will be turning into good players. So Tyrell Williams, I would say, is probably worth a 2nd. Straight up 2nd. We'll see if they do it. No. Is he worth a 3rd? I suppose I am paying him $11.1 million. Is he worth a 3rd? Is he worth a 2nd the year after? Boom. The Colts need a QB. This one makes all the sense in the world. I mean, Derek Carr is a franchise. He's worth a 1st. If Sam Bradford was worth a 1st with no knees, then Derek Carr is worth a 1st. Well, we'll see if they think he is. No. Give me a 7th next year. You got 2. Pick 48 and a 7th. There we go. Goodbye, Derek Carr. We hardly knew ye. So 3rd round pick for Gabe Jackie Jackson. In fact, I'm going to go see if we can get a 2nd next year first. We can. Boom. Gabe Jackson. 2nd round pick. See, Pascal is the kind of player you want. He's 25 years old. Star 77. We can outbid the Broncos for him. That would give us Renfro and Pascal. And maybe a draft pick as well. And then we'd have, that would leave us with 3 77 overall receivers. which isn't great. But if, Renfro and Pascal can develop into, 82s, and then maybe if we can draft someone who's, superstar or something, and then can make him like 85, high 80s plus, then we could be looking at something pretty good. So I'm going to go in on Zach Pascal. So, Camus, I will come in on you. I might not get you because there's a lot of bids. That puts us on 98. We'll probably need a little more, but a cap hit of 5 something. I think it's important to get you players that you want, and I do want him, so we'll put a high bid there. It's not too much. Same here. I was saying we're not a defensively minded team, but if no one's bidding on the likes of Corey Littleton, we could shore up this defense and just draft our offensive players here pretty well. He just wants a 4-year deal. I mean, this seems like a no-brainer. So let's check Darren Lee out. That's a 95-point bid. We are with the Colts on this one. He wants a little more money. Okay, I'm happy to give it to him. I'm kind of happy if we just push linebacker to the side. Do we need 3 linebackers? It's my only question. But between these two, I think it's potential that we do lose one. We're going to go Fitzmagic. We're not going to pay him much. We're going to go Fitzmagic for 1 year, little stopgap QB, and if we draft someone, I might go and get Joe Thuney. Seahawks haven't put in a great offer. He wants $10 million a year. We'll give it to him. We'll take a look at that. I just want to see about cutting Tahir Whitehead, or maybe trading him away for like a 7th or something. Tell you what, you give me a 5th. But Tahir Whitehead, we'll take that all day. It's kind of a realistic trade. We've got Markel Lee anyway, and we should be signing some linebackers. And so with that, on to stage numero 2. We got Pascal. That's good. That's probably number 1. Grugier Hill said no, that's fine. Littleton said yes, that's good. Darren Lee said no. Ooh, that one kind of hurts. Fitz said yes, and Thuney said yes. So our offense gets some improvemento. So we might have to go for sort of a 1 year Patrick Onwuaso. Sounds like a dinosaur. Might have to go for a 1 year stopgap player like him and play him at outside linebacker, which is still actually better than what we were before. And I think that's probably about where I'll go. I'll move him to outside linebacker. We aren't going to be paying you for 3 years. You're very much a sort of 2 year stopgap player. Mike Hilton, how much do you cost? $9 million a year. We've got the cap. Let's go in. 74 with 80 short route. That's pretty good for a running back. And I think 75 is about where we want to be there. Do we want to give him a 3-year deal? I think that's fine to come and be our backup running back, JD McKissick. So as I say, we kind of needed a 1 year little stopgap here, so I will go and give Russell Bodine a contract here. Worst comes to worst, he starts for a year and we draft someone. Better case scenario, he's our backup center, and that's fine as well. Could also use a backup left end here, and I think Morgan Fox fits the bill quite nicely, that we don't have to pay too much. Again, sort of low 70s players, I like getting these guys on sort of longer term cheap deals. So to stage 3 we go. Here we go. We got McKissick, got Onwuaso, we got Bodine, we got Hilton, and we got Fox.
Alright, so as I go through this team here, which isn't great, let's be honest. So we have Kyler Murray. I think he starts out as star, but because he won Rookie of the Year, he is now a superstar, which is just great. So obviously we're going to build around him, and we're going to hope that maybe when we're watching these games, these abilities can come in handy. Obviously it does help with the simulation. Now, at running back, I don't really know if Kenyon Drake is good enough. He might be. We'll see. David Johnson, they're paying quite a bit, which is an issue. But we're not really paying anyone else, so it's not too bad. Christian Kirk is obviously going to be a big building block in this series. hopefully we can get these two involved as well. But other than that, we might need to bring in another receiver to shore up that position. Tight end, I mean, I'm going to need someone else there, if I'm honest. Max Williams is fine, just could do someone better. Now this whole O-line, I don't think I'm going to re-sign any of them that are expiring this year, and then going to bring in some, hopefully, good talent there from the draft. Zach Allen is probably the only guy that might stick around on this D-line. It's very old and very mediocre. It's not great. Chandler Jones, obviously, I want him to be around for as long as we can possibly keep him. So hopefully he'll keep producing like he has been. Now we're going to need another linebacker in here. Jordan Hicks will be fine. Was a starter for the time being. I'm not sure we're going to win the Super Bowl with him. Hassan Reddick, it's a tricky one because he was their high pick, but he's just probably a bit worse than I'd want someone starting at that position. Now, Pat Pete, we save a lot of money by getting rid of him. So maybe a trade's in the offing for anyone who's interested. Because Byron Murphy, that's a great pick. That's great. It's good to see that, but we do need more corners. Unless, I doubt they're really good enough to be starters anyone else. Buda Baker is great. And we're going to build around him. He's probably the centerpiece of this defense going forward if Chandler Jones doesn't stick around. But yeah, he's definitely going to be around for the rest of it as long as I'm the Cardinals coach. Now, Deontay Thompson is interesting because he's not quite starting caliber now, but he might be soon. So hopefully safety isn't a spot we have to worry about. And Jalen Thompson here would be a good backup for a few years. So really it's just corner. I'm not going to go over. I'll find someone to kick and punt. Doesn't matter. But yeah, there's some holes that definitely need filling, especially the lines, which I think are probably the most important things to have good talent at in Madden. As we move on to the re-sign, the only person here that I offered to before the deadline here was Kenyon Drake, and he said he wanted more salary, which I think I'll be fine with if it's just a few. I mean, we have so much cap room, it's not going to be an issue, so I'm happy to do that, and hopefully he accepts. Great. But Gilbert, he's only going to get worse, and he's not that great now, so I don't see any real point there. Charles Clay, the same thing. Brooks Reed is the same thing. Zane Gonzalez, I mean, I can just get him in free agency if I need him, but I don't think I'll bring him back here. Demir Bird, I can get better than that. And there'll be players that are younger than him at the same overall. DJ Humphries hasn't been good enough. And I mean, if we're a passing team in this kind of offense, we don't need a predominant run blocker that he is. He's pretty much the opposite of what we need. So I'm not going to re-sign him. Maybe we could bring him back if he's cheaper than that, but I'm not paying him this much money when I could probably draft someone similar. And everyone else, it's no one that's really essential to this team. I'm sorry, AQ Shipley. As much as that is a good name, it's just not going to happen. Okay, so now as we look at this very depleted team, we can see that we have needs here at tackle. I'm not sure if I'm going to address that in free agency so much. I do like bringing in guys that are younger in the draft and developing them. There's Lamont Gaillard here, who has potential to start because Justin Pugh is 30 now. He's regressed, not significantly, but it's enough to start making you think that you need a replacement. And linebacker, you can see quite a big weakness there. So I'll see if I can bring in a pass rusher, maybe some defensive linemen, so I don't have to fill so many holes in the draft. Now as we go into free agency, who is available? Chris Jones. Okay. Oh, and Andrew Luck's there, which isn't ideal, but you can't really do much about that without like editing the players. Adam Thielen is available somehow. Didn't expect that. Now I'm not sure if we're going to consider any big signings unless they're young. I mean, obviously quarterback I could use with a backup, but I'd say the highest I'd go for is maybe Fitzmagic. At running back, this could be interesting. I'm not sure if I'd like anyone there. Now at receiver, I could see maybe Robbie Anderson. He is better than I thought he'd be, actually. He's not too old. He'd be good for a few years. I'm not sure where our Super Bowl window would be, but I guess it would be while Kyle is still on his rookie deal, which would fit perfectly with when Robbie Anderson would be in his prime. So I would be looking to offer here for a good deep threat. Good hair as well, as I've just been informed. Now, I wouldn't go over the top with a deal, but no one else is offering. I'd see if he accepts that after the first week. Hopefully Chris doesn't come in and ruin that. Now, tight end doesn't... As much as I love Vernon Davis, I don't think I'd bring him in. There's no real tackles there that I'm interested in unless I bring back Humphreys, which isn't ideal. Tooney there, he is really good, but I'm not sure if I could get someone younger in the draft that might be more suited to what I'm trying to do. It's the same, I guess, across the whole offensive line of free agency. I mean, the best players are the people I've let go. I'm just not interested in bringing them back. Armstead would be great to bring in. He'd be quite expensive. But we have a lot of cap room, and while we still have it, I mean, I'll see what the rest of free agency looks like. Chris Jones, I'm not sure I can afford both of them. But I think if I was going to bring anyone in, Armstead would be cheaper. It's a difficult one. He does offer more in terms of pass rush, but I'm not sure I'm willing to spend huge in free agency. These offers might change, but for now I think I'm done. Okay, so as we move on to this, we got our two players that we bid for on the first round of negotiations. We didn't bid on anyone else. Chris Jones is still there. That would be interesting, but I mean, now that our needs move more towards the line here, I probably could bring in some people to compete with some rookies. I don't think I'll bring in any more receivers because I think the people we've got here, I mean, Isabella was a pretty high pick, so we'll see if he can develop into a starting caliber player in the next year, because I doubt this is the team that's able to win right now. I did add Patrick Peterson to the trade block just to see what was there. Obviously, if there's nothing really of substance in those offers, I don't have to trade him away, so I'm not going to get too trigger happy with that. Now here with DJ Humphreys, I would give him quite a cheap deal just to bring him back. I'm not sure how many points this will be. Yeah, it's not good, but I mean, he's still young. He could develop a bit more. If his pass blocking could be better, maybe I'll up this deal, because if I'm paying $5 million for... Now looking at linebackers, I'm not sure there's anyone really here that can be an outside linebacker in our system. I think the only person I'd be willing to bring in is Preston Brown to maybe fill in at middle linebacker. His zone isn't great, but it's only a makeshift thing, so I'm thinking I'm gonna give him quite a cheap deal. See if we can bring him in. I'm not gonna tie up too much money in this. It's not ideal to have him start, but it might have to be the case for this 1 year. And then he can be a backup after that. Deshaun Davis here is only 23, which is interesting. He could also kick into middle linebacker just as a run stopper. I'd consider it. Now in terms of maybe a third corner, I would bring in Michael Davis to fill in for the time being. Maybe draft a rookie as well. It's only cheap deals, so it's not a huge concern. Von Bell is a good starter. I could maybe consider him, to be honest. But a cheap deal like that, I think we can bring him in. Now the big positions, when you consider the special teamers, Matt Hack, I think that's a good way to go. I don't think anyone else is going to outbid us here for an 80-point. Kicker Rosas is always good in this game. If I can get him for a bit cheaper, that'd be nice. I think he'd agree to that. Another 80-point. We got Bell, we got Davis, we got the other Davis, and we got Hack. I'd go for Mariota. I'd give him 2. I think that's fair. I'm not sure if he'll agree, but I think so. Yeah, so the Texans aren't interested in that. Which is about the way it should have been. Okay, so Rosas and Brown did sign.
And so with that, we end the first episode of this Race to a Super Bowl challenge between me and Nick. And yeah, we'll see you next time, where we will be revealing our draft boards, and we'll be doing the draft, as well as probably getting through preseason and getting ready to kick this thing off for the regular season to see who can win the Super Bowl challenge.